Name and your position in leadership.
My name is Jeff Bell, and I am the senior pastor at New Life Fellowship AG in Friendswood, Texas.
Okay, cool. Okay, I'm going to ask you 3 questions. The first question is, how did you get into ministry or into the leadership that you are currently in right now?
From the very beginning?
You can do from the beginning, but how about let's do the one from you are right now. Like, how did you get to where you are right now?
Well, we were actually pastoring in Cameron, Texas for 7 years, and we just felt like God had called us to resign and move somewhere else, but we didn't know where. So we just were obedient to the voice of the Spirit, and we went ahead and resigned. A couple of days later, we got a phone call from the sectional presbyter down in the Friendswood area, the Gulf Coast section, and he asked us to come down and try out in Friendswood. So we did. It was the next Sunday, and we got voted in and moved down the next. Well, we actually came down 2 weekends in a row before we could live here, and we still lived in Cameron and drove in on the weekends. And we've been here for 9 years pastoring since then.
Okay, cool. Now, what is your previous experiences of like becoming a leader? Like, how did this build up to you becoming where you are today?
Well, I started preaching when I was 16 in the youth group, and then when I was about 19, my wife and I got married, and we were the president and vice president of the youth group, so got some little preaching in then. And then the pastor, when I was 20, asked me to take over the youth group, so I did. And I did that for about 10 years. And then God called us into senior pastor position in Cameron, so we moved there and pastored there for 7 years. And then we moved here in Friendswood and been here for 9 years.
Okay, cool. Now tell me, what are the biggest challenges you have in the leadership position you are in currently?
Currently, I'd say the biggest challenge currently is having enough leadership to cover all the positions that we have, or that we need to have. We can't really cover the ones we have very well right now, so it's hard to start anything new.
Yeah, I mean, so having a lot of small people, you're in like a smaller church, you're gonna you're gonna be like a jack of all trades almost as a leader of what you're gonna be.
Yes.
So what are some of the leaderships that you do just besides being the pastor?
Well, I do have a worship leader now, so I don't have to lead worship anymore, but I was doing that. I still play the drums. I have someone that now does youth, so I don't have to do that anymore. So at this moment, I even have someone doing men's ministry now, so I don't have to do that anymore either. So most of it has been covered recently.
Okay, that's good. Okay, now tell me, what is like the biggest reward you would say about being your pastor, or a lead pastor now?
Biggest reward is just watching people grow, watching people change, seeing people grow up in the ministry, especially when they go from being a young person to an adult, and watching them go through the youth group and growing up and becoming a man or woman of God, and continuing that legacy, so to speak, and seeing your investment into someone's life actually bring fruit. That's probably the biggest blessing.
Yeah, that's cool. So, could you give me like a small, like not exactly a story, but something that could help me in the future, or other people going to be watching this in the future, of like advice of how to be a good leader, or how to be a leader in general for a senior pastor? Like, what would be a good advice that you'd give somebody?
Well, obviously everything you do should be bathed in prayer, saturated in it. Continuous growth. Don't ever think that you know everything and you don't need to continue to study. Ministry is about a continual learning process. You never stop learning. You never stop growing. You never stop studying. It's just continuous. Find ways to improve yourself. Go to seminars, read books, whatever it takes to improve yourself and become better than you currently are. But make sure that everything you do is, like I said, covered in prayer, because a lot of people just tend to forget that. And that is the key, because without that, you have no power. That power you have comes from prayer. And without the anointing, then you're just another man.
All right. That's good. Thank you. This is Daniel Bell interviewing Jeff Bell, Senior Pastor at New Life Fellowship in Friendswood.